Okay, that's a good question. So the question is about the character of Priestley going to Banana Republic and sort of everybody's exterior looks and their characters and how and why they were scripted that way. That make sense? First, to answer the Banana Republic question, we sort of saw Priestley as like a little bit of a shock jock, that he, as a character wanted to surprise people, impress people. He had a strong sort of personality. He had ways of doing things that were a little outside the norm. And we just felt that, and Betsy wrote this, that in the course of getting Tish's attention, he would do something kind of outrageous. So it was really scripted as that. There is the theme that runs through the movie as you can't really judge a book by its cover, and everybody's got sort of a different interior than they may have exterior. Or some kind of secret. They didn't all know exactly initially why Piper was in town, and she's there to look for a baby that she gave up, and Jen obviously she's a wallflower, and she's hidden behind the internet before she goes out and meets anybody. Zoe's character wasn't as known about in high school and as sort of flowy and earthy as she was at the end of the day. Trucker had his whole secret about the war and what he'd experienced and how he'd changed. And it's definitely a theme that runs through the movie. But in terms of why he went to Banana Republic, that was our thinking. We also sort of like to look at it that he's not a kid anymore, and he's sort of on the verge of adulthood, and that maybe that was where he grew up or became of age or sort of changed his ways and what he was kind of hiding behind. Not that he needed to, but that it was within his personality to do that, if that makes sense. I hope I'm not just rationalizing it. I hope you brought something to it or felt something similar.
I was just going to ask what your favorite scene was in the movie.
My favorite scene in the movie. Well, I gotta say, I really like the line where Jen, when she's in her bedroom with the vibrator, she says, "If he's so impatient, tell him to get up here and help." I love that line. That's a little bit out there scene. It's a little bit of a stretch, but I like it. And there were moments like that in the movie. That's what drew me to the movie. I like those kinds of moments. I gotta say, I like the montage too. It's not really a scene, but it's when they're driving down to Morro Bay and there's all that kind of, just feels kind of like a home movie version of their trip down to Morro Bay. I like that. And then I like the emotional scenes too. I like their kissing scene on the beach. I like when Jen is emotional and hugs Trucker by the Cosmobile. I think it's very emotional. I love her performance. I like the scene on the steps about the baby not being Piper's. I think it's well performed, and it's not something you expect as an audience. It's a good surprise. Hopefully it was a little bit of a surprise. There's my 10 favorite scenes.